Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pre-Match. Come on now, come on, guys.
Pre-match multi.
No, I think we need to rework the jingle. Pre-match.
Come on, let's hear it. Kick us off there.
No, I don't know. Maybe
I
it's
like
because I
where you're
missed.
going with that.
Maybe it's-
We're
no,
riffing now. We're riffing.
No, it's because I missed cool down. That's why I missed it
Oh,
so
so
much.
what do you want to kind of retro for me
No,
pre-match? Anyway, listen, it's been a while.
But I missed.
We're only
but I
doing
missed the
one
cool
show a
down.
week, so we've got more energy, as you can tell. Definitely, we're saving our energy for the matches. We don't even get practice sessions anymore, so we all or nothing sort of performance athletes here in terms of when we debate, we giving our ideas and thoughts. Pums, yes, it's been a while. So where in the world have you been? It is your first show in ages. I do want to say that today's going to be an interesting show. Why? Because someone's playing with a pen again, and we know that's not standard procedure here.
That's what me.
And I think it's the top of the log, Mr. Woongadenga, the Dengasaurus. He's here. He's excited because obvious reasons. Arteta's doing the things. Arsenal are flying high. Just remember the story of Icarus there, Woongadenga. Icarus flew too close to the sun, eh? All right. At the bottom, we've got Selo, Lolo, Kale, a.k.a. Selo Maguire. And it's a good time to be a Man United fan. It's a better time to be an Arsenal fan. And, of course, from a Liverpool perspective, not so good. But we'll get into that. So today we're going to be covering the weekend's results. We're going to be looking at what's happened with regards to the course of the week in the Champions League. And, of course, discussing our betting corner where we make predictions. And obviously we'll touch on one or two of the week's headlines that have popped up. But first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, we need to kick off about this one team that we never, ever talk about, largely because our animation team have kicked in and they've created this for us.
Oh. Rubbish.
Yes.
Rubbish.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Man
Rubbish.
City logo there. I mean, Silo, you've just started immediately saying rubbish. They went comfortably at the Etihad, 4-0. Your man Louis is not here at the moment. But where do you want to start this conversation? And then we'll move over to Wonga. But it was a comfortable victory for them yet again.
Who will they play? Southampton, right?
Yeah.
Man. Listen, man. I think with Man City, we need to get them to play with 10 men. I think that'll be fair because I watched their game against Copenhagen. So obviously Copenhagen is a Danish team, Danish champions. Maybe obviously not to the caliber of maybe a top 4 side in the Premier League, but a decent side in anyways. And I feel that it was a fair game as a 10 against 11. So against Southampton, 11 against 11 is unfair for Southampton, where Erling Haaland doesn't score until the second half. He's fallen off. As a player. But jokes aside, I think Man City guys are a very strong team. It's by mere the performance of another team, which is Wanga's team that they're not first. But I think it kind of shows the consistency that Man City has and the amount of goals that they're scoring. I think that's scary.
Right.
And I think the fact that their usual back four centre-back partnership hasn't been playing, guys. So you get Akanji playing as a makeshift right back in this game against Southampton. Akanji was just signed right now. He's been playing with Ike as a centre-back partnership, guys. That should kind of be a weakness. But the way that Man City dominates games, you won't get a sniff of the ball. You won't even get a sniff of a chance. Unless I don't know by hook or crook that you get some opportunities, but just phenomenal what they're doing. Foden is in a rich vein of form, scoring at will. Yeah, man. So I think, hey, man, it looks scary for the rest of the league, where the team that was closest to them in previous seasons, Liverpool, is struggling. Let's see what Arsenal can do in terms of just keeping up with them.
Yeah, and I mean, I like the fact that you touched on Foden because Foden, he had a very good season last season, but it's almost like he's got an extra gear now with Haaland there. And Woongadenga, the Haaland factor, we know he's sitting on 23 goals now for the season. It's something ridiculous. It's almost as if this Man City team, that's exactly what everyone had been crying out for, and they've been playing with a handicap. I know, Settle, you talk about a man being sent off being the handicap for the Champions League, but I mean, it's almost like the last 2 seasons they've been playing with a handicap without having a striker. Now they've got Haaland. Apparently, the clubs also feels like it's transforming in terms of having this superstar sort of player. Wonga, Haaland here, do you think is going to be the difference between them getting the Champions League?
Look, I mean, the amount of goals he puts in, it can be, that's for sure. And again, I don't think who beat Man City this season. Whereas it was Liverpool, was it? No, who did Man City lose? Did Man City lose to this season? No, I'm asking. No, they didn't. No.
You see what happens when you only focus on your team at the top, Wonga. You're not looking around you. They're the ones chasing you.
100%.
No,
because
they've not lost, Wonga. They've
lost
0
games.
Yes,
that's what
they've drawn against.
See, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Drawn against Newcastle, and then drew. They drew against.
And they had that this problem beginning of the season where they
drew against Villa. They drew against Villa. They drew against Villa and Newcastle.
Yes. So they had that problem in the beginning of the season. I think we're all aware of it, is that they're conceding too many goals. But it seems like they're sort of getting that away. I mean, remember when they continued that thing from last year where they were conceding 3 but they would come back. And the question is, can anyone outscore Man City? I think that's the question. And I mean, with the way Haaland is going at the moment, I think Claudio thinks then he probably will end up being the difference for them winning a Champions League. But it's interesting to see because last season we were saying that, as you were saying before, they were crying for that number 9, and I just sometimes wonder what would it have been a different story if they had managed to actually sign Ronaldo instead of him going the other way to United. What would have been the situation? Would it be a similar one that they're having now with Haaland? But yeah, I guess we'll never know.
Remember, Wonga, it wasn't Haaland. They were actually Pep Guardiola had his sights set on Kane, and I think what is quite interesting, and I think we might as well bring this up here, is Alan Shearer has written an article saying Kane would score as many goals as Haaland if he was playing for the City team, and that's something I disagree with. And I see you shaking your head there.
Why? He's not robotic. He's Kane, guys. Listen, Kane and Haaland are different types of profiles, guys. Yeah. Kane needs to feel the ball for him to score goals. You know what I mean? Kane is a player who needs to feel the ball in terms of touches and so on and so forth. Then he can get his chances and score. Haaland has 5 touches of the ball in the game and scores 3 goals from those 5 touches. You know, he doesn't need touches. Haaland is a machine. Haaland is robotic. He kicks a ball with his weaker foot, doesn't kick it cleanly, but goes past Jose Sa in the Wolves game. You know what I mean? Haaland is just, guys, he's a number 9. He's that, like, you know, Inzaghi used to always score goals in the box and never outside the box. Haaland is that type of player who just scores. If he's in the box and there's a chance in the box, 80% of the time it's going to be a goal, and 100% of the time it's going to be on target, guys.
I think his shot conversion at the moment, it's like 40%, Silo. It's 40% in terms of converting.
Imagine, I don't know if you guys saw that shot where he hit with his weaker right foot and then he hit the post. And then it looked like it was going to hit the other post and go in, but then it went out. You know what I mean? And for me, I was like, damn, man, this guy's actually human. Like, he actually can miss. You know what I mean? I thought it was going to be a goal, you know, and he was also surprised. But this guy is just lethal, guys. Harry Kane is lethal. But let's say, for instance, I'm going to make an example. If Haaland scores, let's say, 45 league goals for the season, right? I think Harry Kane in this City team would score about 32, maybe max 35. You know, because he'll probably take the penalties as well. And obviously, he's one of the best penalty takers. I'll say 35 goals.
And you, Wongadinga, how much do you think? If you had to, firstly, how much do you think Haaland will end with at the end of the season? How many goals do you think he'll end with? And then if Kane had to play for City, how many goals do you think he'd get?
I think Haaland will be close to a goal a game. So if he's the league playing 38, I think he will get more than 35 goals in the season.
But remember,
for the league.
Let's assume they're going to go quite far in the Champions League too. And then
we're talking about season.
Liverpool played a total amount of 60-something games last season. If he's averaging a goal a game, 60 goals, guys, is that a possibility here for him?
I say 50. Let's say 50.
I say 55.
55 goals there from Mr. Haaland himself. Also, what's quite frightening about him, I mean, Selo, you've touched on his physical attributes, but the one thing, the difference between a Kane and a Haaland now is if you're looking at a Haaland, you're looking at this guy and you're going, psychologically, mentally, everyone believes he's going to score. He believes like he's going to score. It doesn't. I mean, that Community Shield game against Liverpool, where it was a contrast to the two strikers, the new signings. Nunes hit the ground running, and he missed. But it didn't even look like it phased him after the game. He was smiling and was whatever, and he's done what he's done. Nunes, on the other hand, had complete reversal, 360. So it's that mental fragility that he absolutely doesn't have. He's completely fortified in the mind.
100%. No, 100%. It kind of shows, like, it's as you said, it's a mentality thing. That guy is a machine. He was built in a lab. I think obviously we need to go and find this lab and burn it down, or create another Haaland for every single team in the Premier League. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos of
his cousin,
of his cousin, of that volley that he hits. Bro, I'm telling Man United to go and sign his cousin right now, because that guy is, even if he's 70% of what Haaland is, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, 50% is actually good enough. It's a top striker, 50%.
I mean, Selo and Wonga Pum's agreeing with you. Haaland 50 goals, Kane 30 goals, and that's the difference when you're comparing it. Probably the easiest sort of debate that we've had, in the Goallounge studio here.
Alan Shearer will always have an English prize, guys.
100%. 100%. Because he was pretty similar.
Yeah, he's really trying to push that narrative. But okay, gentlemen, that was quite easy. I wanted to see where that conversation would go. It didn't really go too far because we all know what's going on here. But we don't have a Mr. Newcastle in the studio, but we do have this today, which is quite interesting. And I think the timing is very, very convenient. And what, not necessarily good for Mr. King of the North, but look at that.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Why is he doing that?
He's not here to see it. He's not here to see the launch. Man.
That's what happens.
The man is sleeping on the job. Man. But, hey, man, guys, I've got the worst luck, guys, in fantasy football, guys. I took out Bruno Guimaraes out of my team, and he scores 2 goals.
That's the worst thing, yeah?
Guys, if I take out a player, he always scores, guys. I took out Tony and he scored a hat trick. Now Bruno Guimaraes, I take him out, scores a brace. It's ridiculous, guys. It's bad luck, but great result for Newcastle. I think we all said they would win, guys, and I think we even said that they'll probably score more than 1 goal. I think Wonga's bets are always that they'll score 2 goals, right?
100%.
Yeah,
And I think for me, when I look at the way they play, look, I mean, Newcastle played well. I mean, they scored the opportunity they got. But at Brentford, oh my goodness me, guys. If you're going at the coach, I don't think is when he's looking back at that, he needs to seriously fix something. They can't. If they play like that the next game, it's going to be probably more than 5. They've given away 2 or 3 goals there. Stupid, careless mistakes. I can only remember the first one clearly. But I mean, those are. You can't be doing that. I mean, in the Premier League. I mean, you can maybe forgive them a bit because I mean they've only come back last year. But I mean, from what the standard they've been showing from last year and the sort of dip they're taking now, I think they must be really careful because that what they showed there, that was careless. A team that looks like they could slowly. I mean, if they carry on like that, they could flip and slip into that relegation zone soon. They must really.
So Wonga, what are you saying?
Turn that around.
I say the startup team. Where are they now? The startup team is on the same amount of points as Liverpool.
Yeah, so they're sitting 11th on the table with 10 points. They've only won 1 game in 5. They've lost 2, drawn 2. But nonetheless, Wonga's got a point there. If they play that way, look. Also, I don't.
Oh, they
and the
could
reason
slip.
why we need to talk about this. So Wonga, it's interesting. We're talking about the Newcastle 5, Brentford 1, and you've taken the angle where we're going to focus on Brentford being, potential relegation candidates. Whereas if Nick was here, we'd be talking about the angle that, hey, hang on. Newcastle are pushing for top 6 position. Yeah, this is what they're going to be focusing on. So how much of that should we actually factor in and say, okay, cool, it was a slip up from Brentford, but Newcastle absolutely punished them. They put them to the sword. They slayed them. They said, thanks for coming.
Man. To the sword, my brother.
I think I think if you're looking at that, and I think Nick would agree with me, is that look, yes, they're doing well to get the points. I mean, of a team that's doing that bad, but I don't think any team loses to a Brentford that does that. Those errors that Brentford made were really unforced. They were really unforced. No need to be making mistakes like that. And I think then that demoralizes them completely. And then you end up getting 5 in the back of your goals. I'll stand by what I say. If they carry on like that, they'll slip back there quick.
He's not taking the bite here. He's not nibbling on what I'm putting down here. But from the Newcastle perspective, I mean, if this was under Steve Bruce, they maybe take 1 or 2 of those mistakes that were made by Brentford. So what's your opinion here, Silo?
About Newcastle or about Brentford? Nah, man, guys. Listen, guys. I think Newcastle. We see, like, I'm obviously quietly optimistic about my fixture with them this weekend. They are a team on the upper trajectory. A good English manager in Eddie Howe. Good players, and also the players that were injured are coming back from injury. I think that is definitely something that will definitely help them going forward. Is Saint Maximin should be back this weekend. Almiron has played quite well. Kieran Trippier has been outstanding for them, leading from the back. I think Nick should be quietly optimistic in terms of them finishing. I think a top 7, guys. I think if Newcastle don't finish top 7, guys, I think they should be disappointed that they don't finish top 7. Because of how the league is taking shape. So already we've got five traditional top 6 teams in the top 6, 5 of the 6. Liverpool just needs to come up a bit and join the rest of the other teams. But who else will be that number 7 team? I think Newcastle is the perfect team for that because of the way. Listen, they haven't even started the season that well. They've got 5 draws in 9 games, and I think they've
only lost one. They
lost one, and they lost controversially so at Anfield. So I think they should be definitely aiming for top 7. I was looking for a West Ham on the log because of the signings that they've made, and I had to go quite far down to find West Ham at number 13 on the log. That's the only team I think could probably improve.
Do you think they will improve, though, do you think West Ham will improve? Because they've struggled here, and also if they keep going this way, do they stick with Moyes? They are quite a volatile. Look, they're two from 2 wins back to back now, so it is, you would say, looking up. But
yeah,
I mean,
imagine look at Newcastle. Before they also were struggling, not struggling, but they only had 1 win, and then they win 2 on the trot, and then now they top 6. You know what I mean? So I think a West Ham. Also, West Ham's also not, leaking goals. They're winning 1-0. They're winning 2-1. They're not losing 4-0. They're losing 1-0. They're losing 2-1. They're losing 2-0. They're not leaking goals. So I think West Ham will come into the top 10. I think if we can give it probably another three game weeks, West Ham will definitely be in the top 10. Liverpool, let's see what happens with the confidence of the 7-1. But I think the top 6 that we traditionally know will be the top 6 this season. And then Newcastle, I think, will be the best of the rest.
With West Ham punching just outside. Technically speaking, to break the top 10, they're just 1 point out. So that's very probable. I think now it's time, Woongadenge, it's your time to shine. It's time for your boys to fly. We're going to unleash the cannons and shoot the guns into the air because they're on the top. So we're going to talk about that fixture on the weekend that I'm not too happy about.
It would be nice if for one guy we had some sound effects like...
There we go. Arsenal 3, Liverpool 2, Woongadenge. You were confident. You were confident for the win. You got the win. And how did you think it played out in terms of what is your overall perception of the game before we unpack the sort of talking points that we have to talk about because obviously it was against my side?
Okay, so I think the major thing for me is I said it last week, and I even said it the other times we used to lose against Liverpool. Is that the only way we're going to beat them is if we bring the game to them. And I mean, from the early goal that we scored, I think that was the intention from the get-go. And for us, it's good to score an early goal because that's probably that messes up. I mean, that's not everyone's game plan to concede in the first minute.
Was that an early goal? I think that goal was scored even before the game started. That's how quick it was.
I thought you were going to I thought you were going to
Oh
ask
my
something
goodness,
else.
that
Bro.
was
I'm trying to be patient to let the man finish what he needs to say before I start saying things. I thought you were going to
so.
say something else, but I'll get back to that early goal. Go ahead, Wonga.
Yeah. Look, I think that was a good performance from our team. I think very very happy that we scored those goals against Liverpool. It is a Liverpool, so you always do expect them to get a goal, but I think we could have done better. I mean, with that defending. I think Firmino's goal, good movement, but I still think it's too easy. It's too easy. I mean, the way Saliba came forward, there's a spacing behind there, and I mean that looked too simple for me. I mean, for that level, but it was a good goal. And when you put Firmino on, you're hearing all the stats about him. He likes scoring against Arsenal. All his scores against Arsenal. He scored his most Premier League goals against. Was it? I don't know. I can't remember what the stat was, but I think he's obviously got a lot of goals against Arsenal as a player, and you just knew that as he came on. I mean, he's probably going to get the goal there. But that is Liverpool. You're not going to get them, even though you may beat them. You're not going to get them dying out. It's always going to be a difficult one. But yeah, happy we finally got it over there. Finally, and yeah, that now it's going to give now questions. People are asking, does Arsenal can you write them as title contenders? Yeah, because of the condition, because of where we are on the log, you can give us rights as title contenders, but like I said, I think it's going to require consistency to the highest level, because Man City dropping points is going to be very difficult, and I think to catch up with that will be the answer.
So, before you give your opinions there, in terms of what Wonga's just said, they are top of the log. They haven't drawn a game all season, and they've only lost one. And I think that's always very telling in terms of what the team is. Sorry, Wonga, can you just watch your headphones? Make a bit of a noise. When a team is challenging for the title, they drop points in these unnecessary draws, and that's the issue here. And they haven't done that, which is being good. But what is your take on the game of the weekend?
I mean, I think Arsenal playing at home definitely counted in their favor. Firstly, the way they started, I think Arsenal right now are fearless in terms of when they play against the top sides. So yes, they haven't played Man City yet, but in terms of the other top 6 sides that they've played against, your Man United, Spurs, and Liverpool, they come out fearless. So in that, it shows that this team and Arteta is confident. They've scored a first half goal in all those 3 games against the top 6 sides, and I even said that last week's show, guys. If Arsenal score first, guys, it's never good. I think they one of those teams when they score first, they kind of relax, and then that they'll probably get another goal. So, and also Arsenal are playing well, guys. It's not like they're winning 1-0 like how Spurs in some of the games they win the game. It wasn't a clean game. It was quite scrappy. But when Arsenal plays, guys, they're actually good to watch. It reminds me of the times of Wenger when Arsenal was good to watch. So they are a team that's exciting to watch. And I think going forward, yes, there'll be bigger tests. I think away from home, there'll be obviously bigger tests against teams who are more defensive. I heard that Gabriel Jesus missed training. I think it was yesterday. So let's see what happens there. Obviously, I think maybe just a precaution. I know that.
So, did you see Wonga's face as you said that? His face was shocked for something he didn't even see.
We need to clip that. We need to clip that shock in his face, because listen, at the end of the day as well, if we think about it, Gabriel Jesus has been the difference for Arsenal. He is so tenacious. That guy is small in build in terms of short, but I think he's very strong and he's very aggressive and he fights for the ball. And I think he leads that line very well, and he brings into play other players. And then obviously Gabriel Martinelli. I read that he had actually trials at Man United when he was between the ages of 13 and 15.
The Man United Chronicles. You see, Wonga, this is what Settle will do. He'll weave Man United into any conversation. Let's see about Martinelli being linked with Man United.
I've learned from our host. I've learned from our host who brings in Liverpool to every discussion. But yeah, but on Liverpool side, I think a lot to worry about for Liverpool. I think it's a recurring theme of conceding first. I think there's a lot to sort out there as a club, and I think the signings that you guys have not made in the midfield are very telling. I think that the squad as a whole needed a refresh, a bit more of a refresh. You've got Darwin Nunes, but you also signed Carvalho, but that's about it that you kind of really signed last season. So I think obviously if you guys made, then Arthur Melo obviously is injured now. I think also that was a panic buy. You could have probably, how you do business is to try and identify the right type of.
It was very Man
profile to
United-esque, Silo. I'm surprised you didn't bring that into the conversation.
Claude, before we go into Liverpool, I just want to say, Martinelli. I've always liked Martinelli. I think from the first game, similar to a smooth throw, when you see those guys first, you can see that there's a desire and a hunger in the guy. And looking a little bit into Martinelli, apparently they say with him, he's literally just focused on his soccer. I'm not sure if the situation is still the same, but I heard when he, in terms of his money, he's letting his mother, he said his mother in particular, one that's going to be handling it. And he's literally focused on his soccer. Even at the house, he's got, I think he's got a personal trainer as well, someone that helps him, obviously condition his body. He's literally trying to take care of himself and focus on his game. He's saying that this is it, this is the soccer, and you can see he's that kind of person just by the way he plays his game. He's focused on that and improving himself week in, week out. So I think for me, that's Martinelli for me is going to be a big asset to our club. But like Pumzi is saying, the squad depth will be the gunful of the Gunners, and I think, look. I think a lot of injuries will do us bad. I think maybe a Jesus in particular, but the rest of the positions, I think we are okay. Wait, Jesus and our two centre backs, I would say. I'm pretty happy.
Not Xhaka.
No, look, Xhaka's playing. I don't think. Look, Xhaka, the way he's playing, I don't think there's a problem there. I think anyone can fill in that position, to be honest with you.
No. You see, this guy disrespect Xhaka. I think if Martin gets injured,
listen.
I think you're going to see a different Xhaka.
I think Xhaka's been top 3 best players for Arsenal after Saliba and Jesus.
Oh, that's a big statement. You know what? He's
Martinelli. No ways.
Xhaka.
I would say Martinelli then Xhaka. I would say that. Goodness me, there's no ways. Martinelli is definitely up there in the top players in our team. He's worked his socks off. I think for me,
we said top 3
he's getting
best players this season. I stand
yes, it's Martinelli, 100% Martinelli. There's no ways. Martinelli gets kicked out by Xhaka. If you say Saliba and Jesus are there.
No,
another good player we've got there. Vieira, I also think is a top player. I would definitely like to see more game time from him.
I'm just gonna jump in here because we can talk about this for a long time, but we're just gonna get back to the point of the game quickly. We've got some talking points that we do need to cover, and I want to get your opinions on this, biased or unbiased. And I also want to start off with this. You see the bottom here, Clouds Your Rants. If it was the other way around, I just want to point this out. If the decisions went the other way around, this would be a 30-minute segment of Wonga Denga complaining about VAR. That's all I'm going to start off with. Okay, that's the first thing I want to start off with. Okay, that's my rant.
No ways.
Okay, I'm done with that. The next thing I want to say is that when we're looking at Arsenal, I think, Silo, you touched on the point here. The home base, the home crowd was a huge difference on Arsenal. Because if we looked at how the game went, the game was an interesting one in terms of the fans believed they could get a result. Wonga believed they could get a result. So they believed they could get a result before Arsenal did. They start off with an early goal. Something interesting coming out of the early goal. You know when they were checking for VAR, Wonga Denga, did you see the line coming out to see if you could see whether or not the man was offside when the ball was played through in the early goal? Did you see that line?
I don't think it was necessary.
No, that line was not there. The line was not there because technology had failed them apparently because the guys weren't ready, and that's why they just gave it a goal. So that's rule number one. That's the first thing we were looking at, point number one. But the other thing is that's so cool. They start off early. They get the goal that Liverpool really do not need. I think Liverpool also come into this game underestimating Arsenal a little bit, a bit too cocky in terms of how they started that because they went gung ho off the bat, and they shouldn't have. They should have started a bit deeper. So we're going to be compact for the first 20 minutes. Let's not concede. That's priority. They didn't do that. They went for it. They got punished. Fine. Liverpool then get a bit of the game. They get into it. They start controlling it. The game changes. They get their goal back. And all of a sudden, bam, it looks like Arsenal, the players start doubting themselves. The crowd now also backing them a little bit. But there was that sense where you're going, oh, shit, Liverpool have this. Even though Liverpool aren't playing too well, we've still got this. And then at the end, again, the disrespect came out. You put in this face, Wongadinga, but Liverpool were dominating that first half. And then the disrespect came out where they had that free kick at the end of the game, at the end of the first half, where they just launched all their players up front and they got completely caught out. And Trent, awful defending. And all of a sudden, that settles Arsenal down. Again, it settles them down. They go into the change room. Your man Arteta has the conversation. Now all of a sudden the team talks very different and they start believing. And now they've got absolute belief. And from there on, second half was completely Arsenal's because they knew what they were doing from that perspective. And you've also got to credit Arteta. The thing you have not mentioned here, Wonga, which I'm very disappointed, is that you did not speak about your man who played left back. The man, that was a strategic move that paid off Arteta. You did not mention Tomiyasu. I cannot believe you did not do that. And that's a stroke of genius from Arteta. He's taller than Salah. He did the business and he's right back. He did the job. He did a job on Salah. Salah needs to play more centrally. We've seen this. A lot of the players were subpar. Liverpool players, the positives were, when we're looking at Luis Diaz, he was very good on the day. He got injured. Not a good sign, but he was very good up until the point he got injured. Jota had a great game. Darwin Núñez, I'm not going to complain about either. The failures, the shortcomings were in midfield and defense. Now, of course, leading up to the Man City game, that's not a good thing. But we do have these sort of Champions League game we can't discuss. We're going to discuss that later. But overall, I think what is quite interesting is Liverpool were not very good. But the ultimate decision that gave the Arsenal 3 points was that penalty decision that Pum's already come out saying it was not a penalty. And Selo, I want to get your opinion there. Wonga's already had his say in the group chat saying it was a penalty. Did you think that was a penalty? And if you did, that's fine. But I want to know your thoughts.
It was soft. It was soft. It was a soft penalty. I think it's a home ground penalty. Sometimes there's those things that happen in matches of this magnitude where the home side gets that benefit of the doubt in terms of the crowd. It's just how it's not the ref's fault. It's just how it is in sports, not just football. I think in all sports, the home ground does definitely get that rub of the green in decisions where another referee could have definitely seen it a different way, also at a different stadium away from home. At Anfield, it's not a penalty.
Yeah, look, I will say, sorry, Wonga, I will say, look, to credit Arsenal from that perspective, all that pressure was piled on Liverpool. Liverpool couldn't clear the ball. It literally sat in the box for a good, 30 seconds, and that's actually what hurt them in the end because there was just so much movement. Just bound to give something because Michael Oliver, Mr. England, like Klopps likes to call him, loves blowing his whistle. So they gave him every opportunity to do that at the home ground of the opposition. Go ahead, Wonga.
Mr. What?
Yeah, look, I think, if I'm honest with you, I think the handball is a handball. Gabriel's one. As harsh as people may seem, I think it's touched his hand. I mean, we can't make it. That rule's gonna. If you're not giving Gabriel's one, we're gonna be confused with the other ones now. You know, and then the free kick, the one that Gabriel Jesus got. Yeah, it's soft, very soft. And then, but the one thing, even when you look at it in slow mo, it's gonna make it even look worse. I think now the ref is looking everything. When you look at everything in fast action, I think that's when you are calling these decisions, and I don't know what the rule is now. That's also the thing. Is it contact that needs to be given? Because we remember beginning of the season they even said that they're not going to be giving soft penalties like that, but they're giving them. And
define contact. I want to get your definition. So, when you're looking at contact, define that for me because there's touching, and then they're saying, cool, if you get touched and the man drops, it's contact. Explain that to me. I'm curious. No.
So what they're saying now, as far as I understand it, they said that everyone, the presenters, Mr. Dermot is saying it as well. They're saying that if at the beginning of the season they said that the refs are not going to give soft penalties. The contact they say has to warrant him falling down, has to be enough. So if let's say the guy gets kicked, he gets touched, like as in contact, the two bodies meet. And now he gets touched, and now then he just falls. But the contact is not enough. But now you can't really judge it. But that's what they say. If the contact is not enough, they can't be giving a penalty. Then they went back and they looked at the one with Arsenal and Man United. And what does Dermot say? He says, no, look, I mean, the guy's literally, what's his name? Udegaard has touched him. He's touched him. He's basically pulled him back and he's kicked him. And he said that contact was enough for him to fall on the floor. He touched him twice. So it always goes back to the referee and how he judges the decision. But again, they always say as well, what also does matter is how the referee perceives it, because they also don't want this thing of us going back and looking at it going slow.
I love how you have a thesis for your penalty decision, eh?
Yeah, but what would he say?
No, but you remember?
Okay, no. But remember against... was the other way with regards to VAR rants. This man would be be unhinged completely.
Do you remember Arsenal against Wolves? I think what's his name was still coaching us.
That's
it was,
what we're talking about. Wongadenge, we're not talking about that.
No. They hardly touched him.
No, we want to move on now.
Do you remember David Luiz?
David Luiz, wow, that's like 2 seasons ago. Wonga, come on.
No, you can't be doing that.
No, but it's the same thing. No, but it's the same thing.
This show exists back then. No, it's
we're trying to be neutral. That went out the
window.
All right, it is time to discuss the game that went quite well for Man United. They bounced back after 6-3 defeat to their rivals, the neighbours, and they've come back here to beat Everton, another Merseyside's team. So,
yeah, man.
Hello. Take it away.
Nice. Thanks for the graphics. Thanks for the graphic designer. Shout out. Man, yeah, man.
Warren and Ivano out there. Good work.
Thank you guys. Well done.
Yeah,
man. I think we need to get the win first and foremost. I think it's obviously a great confidence boost for CR7 that he scored the second goal. Everton started quite well, a goal in the first 10 minutes with Alex Iwobi, bent it around the defender and De Gea had no chance there. But yeah, we come back. Anthony Martial continue his rich vein of form of a goal contribution every 20 or so minutes in the game. Great finish by Anthony, 3 goals in 3 games, which is good. I think it just shows the character within the side that even though we went behind, we still had that confidence to obviously get that equalizer in the first half and then even get the second goal in that first half. It bodes well, and I think we definitely need to continue this because up until the City game, we had won every single game between the Brentford loss and the City loss. So I think right now, yes, we still have some tough games ahead of us. We still have your Spurs and your Chelsea, Newcastle and West Ham in the next 4 games. But let's definitely, I think, take the confidence. Goodison Park is also a tough place to go to. I think Fat Frank is obviously trying to make it a fortress again and making them hard to beat. Which he's done quite well so far this season. They are lying in the mid-table. We were talking about them on a previous show and asking whether Lampard or Gerrard will be the next manager to be sacked. And since then, his side, I don't think they've only lost 1 game, and then they've drawn as well, and then they've won a couple of games. So I think Everton are very good, compact-wise at the back. But I think obviously Man United's quality was a bit too much for them in the end.
But Celo, let's talk about the quality and talk about Ten Hag here. When we first seeing Anthony, this was a signing he wanted. It's his former Ajax player. You've commented on his goal returns. Are you seeing what you want to see in a player that was that price tag?
Yeah, I think. Listen, any player takes some time to settle in. I think it's never easy coming from another division to come to England. It's a different culture, it's a different way of playing. Also, Ajax was obviously very dominant. 60-70% position of the ball. Now you come to Man United. Yes, we dominate matches against Everton's, but not every single game we dominate. And I think yes, slowly but surely, he's going to obviously contribute more than just what he's done so far. But even Ten Hag was saying that, well done to Anthony, 3 goals in the first 3 games, but I expect more, and more is to come from him because as he settles more and more, he'll definitely do much better. And I like the way he stretches the field. Obviously it's something that Ten Hag wants from him. He hugs the touchline, and when a player hugs the touchline, he leaves the gaps in between himself and the striker and the number 10 to obviously try and exploit that. Man United uses this formation now where they're coming from the back, where they use a 3-1-6 formation. when they've got possession of the ball. So obviously De Gea passes the ball to one of maybe the centre backs or the right back. And what you find is maybe the left back comes in, then there's a centre back, and you've got Casemiro, and you've got all the other guys in front, basically. And it's spread across the field, and it stretches the teams that we play against. And it's been quite effective in the games that I've seen so far. He's as Pum says, is a proper winger. Some are saying that Man United have signed the South American Robin.
Oh, who's saying that? Man United.
I saw that on Twitter, guys. I saw someone saying that we've signed them South American Robin.
I think with look, I agree with that. I think with in terms of his price tag, for me, I think if I were buying someone for that much, I expect a lot. You must be able to dribble 10 players and put the ball at the back of the net every game. But I think we can't look at that anymore. But I think from most people, what we saw before, people were saying like, holding the ball too long. People worried he's going to be doing a lot of dribbling and all that stuff. But he's been very direct. You can't even take it away from him. As soon as he's got in front of that goal, there's a threat. He's quick, gets in front of the goal, not many touches, puts it in the back of the net. Doesn't even think of anything else. Not even thinking about passing. You can see it. He's thinking about the goal. Converting. We mustn't look at Haaland when he's looking at these things. But he's converted 3 and 3. And I think that's a very good start. It's a very good start and it's a very, very, very good start. So Haaland is something else. That's a very good start for a thing. And also in terms of Man United, good run of form. I think slowly, very, very slowly, I think they're turning things around. I think it's a very positive. I think the fans are probably feeling a lot better as well. They should be.
Yeah, and I think that's the shift. I think you can see. I think the fans are Settle, you wanted Ten Hag before he came in. The fans wanted him, so I think they are aware of where the club is. Man United fans are an educated bunch, aren't they? They're not, for the most part, the ones that have stuck around these last couple of years. They are an educated bunch, so they understand that's going to take time. But it seems like they are trusting Ten Hag, and it seems like when he's coming out and speaking about the team and the players, there's confidence there, and you like what he's saying. And then also when you're seeing the players on the field, you can see things are happening. It's only, of course, the fans want the owners out, and Settle, the owners have come out slapping a big, what is it, 9 billion or what is the asking price for the club?
I don't know. I saw that from Group.
Yeah, 9 billion. 9 billion pounds.
9 billion is what the Glazers are asking for. Gentlemen, is this? I know the money in football at the moment is crazy, and it's probably going to continue being crazy. But is that even possible for someone to buy that right now?
It's a ridiculous valuation. But Man United is worth
did it on purpose.
5. Man United is worth 5 at most. 5. I think. That's 9 billion, guys. That's the most expensive sports team in the world. Then I think it's too much. 9 billion.
And also, how can you be putting that? How can you be putting that sort of price tag on a club that's been underperforming for a while now as well? It's a different thing. I understand history and heritage, but that surely can't translate.
They're spitting in everyone's face.
No, man. They
basically saying they are. They're saying we're not giving you guys up. They're basically saying we're not giving it up. It's like putting a price tag on Messi, like Barcelona did. They said these that time it was release clause $1 billion. Yeah, you want him $1 billion. Oh, of course, you know what's going to put in $1 billion.
Exactly what Wonga says, guys. Is that you slap a price just because you just don't want anyone to buy it. The Glazers are profiting via dividends from Man United, so there's no reason for them to sell. They don't have to put money into the club. The thing that does suck is the fact that these guys have since they've taken over from Man United, there's been no work done in the stadium. No work done in the stadium. Nothing done at Carrington. So basically, these guys have just been sitting there and just folding their arms, guys.
You've seen other clubs.
That's
bad. You've seen Spurs.
And other clubs.
No, that's bad.
Leicester has a new training facility. Liverpool, Spurs, Man City, all these clubs have training facilities. Man United still.
Arsenal have been the leaders on that front for a while.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of catching up to do. Silo,
no, that's bad. I'd be worried if I were you guys.
And the laugh of Varane there, Silo.
Rafael Varane, Rolls-Royce defender.
There we go. That's an easy one. No debate. Straightforward. That was quick fire. Gentlemen, we're just going to touch on the Champions League because you know, it is in the week, and it is an accelerated season for the Champions League. But what do we need to talk about? Selo, you touched on earlier today with regards to the Barcelona situation. They are in danger of not making it through to the knockout stages. How does this impact the club financially? A club that's already in financial turmoil. You are the finance guy. Let's educate our viewers.
Yeah, so Barcelona took a bet on the season. You know, basically the bet on the season was the fact that they would do well in La
Wait,
Liga.
is it an actual bet? Like an actual bet?
No, man.
No, man, he's saying it as they took a gamble. They gambled metaphorically.
They took a gamble and they signed a lot. They signed quite a lot of players. As we all know, they were gambling that they were going to get so much money coming in. So, firstly, by way of you know, stadiums being able to be open again, and obviously getting the crowd, you know, 80,000, 90,000 people in the stadium, which they've definitely done at their stadiums because they're doing well in La Liga. But the part about Champions League, guys, is they were betting basically they'll get to the quarterfinals. So you get to quarterfinal stages in Champions League, you get a certain amount of money to progress to that quarterfinals. And right now they're third in the table in the Champions League group, and there's 2 matches left. They'll be playing against Victoria Pilsen and Bayern. They win both games, but if Inter Milan wins just 1 game, then they'll do a head-to-head. You know, Champions League is not goal difference. Champions League is head-to-head first, and then goal difference. So then they will fall into Europa League. And as you guys know, no one really watches Europa League. TV rights for Europa League are not amazing. Guys, prize money is not amazing for Europa League. So then for Barcelona, it affects their bottom line at the end of the season. And if you were anticipating that you're going to get 100 million pounds at the end of the season, and you end up getting 70 million pounds, then that leaves a 30 million hole in your balance sheet and may actually result in something that they probably didn't want to do. Is probably sell obviously some prized assets. They held on to all their prized assets, and I think obviously De Jong.
Well, not all of them. And I know you're talking about the football players as being the assets.
Oh yes, they sold TV rights.
Season. Yes, yeah. What did they do this? Let's hear what they did there.
Yeah, they sold off their future TV rights to a company called, I think it's Main Street, whatever. But there's also some conspiracy there as well, guys. There's some conspiracy that Barcelona has a joint venture with this Main Street, and they created a JV company, and they bought it from themselves with this company. This is this big conspiracy, but
so pretty much Man City vibes, but they get away with it because La Liga needs them to be successful, right? That pretty much covers that side. What we're gonna do is the last thing we need to look at is this whole Mbappe story, wanting to leave PSG. Guys, I don't know who's consulting this guy, but wherever he's getting his information from, it's not working. He could have left at the end of the season for free.
Not his father.
He's now stuck at PSG. He doesn't want to be playing.
It's the mirror, bro.
He wants to be leaving. He's saying he doesn't want to be playing up front. Apparently, he wants to be playing behind. Also, why would he not want to be playing up front? I don't understand that. But realistically, what happens?
He wants to play off a number 9 like how he plays off Giroud in the national team. That's what he said.
You see, the thing is,
what happens there now?
Wonga?
Let's go. Wonga, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Look, I think you see Mbappe, as good of a player as he is, if you're a club, and I think Arsenal learned from this with the Aubameyang. Liverpool now, I think we're going to learn with this with Salah. Liverpool had a thing. I know we all questioned it. Well, I questioned it in terms of, this guy's a good player. Now we've got policies, and now we're going to break the policy for this person. And then you go that way. A club.
You also said him as giving what he wants. You're sounding bad.
Yeah. No. And now I see the error of my ways. I see that. Hey, you know what? Maybe this is actually wrong. This is wrong. And I'm seeing it, and I fully admit it that you can't be doing that. If you've got a club, you must run it the way that you believe. The player is never bigger than the club. And this saying, we've heard this for many years. Us, we've heard this back in your days when you were playing. You've heard it now. A lot of people are saying it. And these guys, these pundits that used to ex-players will say the same thing. Thierry Henry, as great as a man, as a player of his caliber, he kept on saying that. And even there was another story Thierry Henry said when he was playing at Barcelona. He didn't obviously, I don't want to go too much in the story, but obviously he didn't stay out on the wing as Pep Guardiola told him to. He still ended up scoring a goal. Halftime, Pep Guardiola took him off the field. He took him off. And they put someone else on the field, even though he got them a winning goal. But PSG's problem now is they are literally doing everything they can to keep Mbappe. And you've got Messi in your goddamn team. You've got Messi, and you guys are worried about Mbappe.
There's already talk about him leaving end of the season. He's done. Apparently, Neymar's done. So Pum's coming out saying, give a kid a bit of power and he will sulk. And is this all it is, Silo? Or is it just a temper tantrum and things are going to be back to normal again? Because realistically, who can afford him?
I think we need to look at his career trajectory, guys. Is the fact that this kid, since 2016, 17, when he obviously broke onto the scene at Monaco, guys, this kid has literally had everything go in his way. Monaco got to the semi-finals of the Champions League that season. He was an integral player as a teenager. Then goes on loan to PSG, and then PSG signs him for 200 million. In itself, he's always gotten the, basically what he wants. Did well at the World Cup. Just things have just gone well for him. But at that point in time, he was still a humble player, trying to prove himself, trying to obviously get the big moves, get the big money moves, get the big salaries. And he did prove himself, right? In the Champions League, in League, in the World Cup. But then, guys, Euro 2021, I think it's where it kind of started.
Thank you, Silo. Thank you for mentioning the sort of
going down.
The fragileness. Let's talk about that. If you right now, and this is going to be a quick fire question because we still need to cover the other part of our section. Mbappe, Haaland. If you got to just compare them mentally.
Haaland.
All day, every day, right? Wonga, do you agree?
Physically,
mentality.
That's the difference. And you know what the problem is as well? He stayed at PSG and he's getting what he wants. He's soft. He's now got a soft underbelly that Haaland just does not have. And that's the unfortunate truth about the Mbappe Chronicles. Gentlemen, we're going to go to the sort of betting corner now. And this is obviously where we look at the results or the fixture of the weekend. We're going to give our predictions, why we think the predictions will be what they be. And of course, if you're brave enough to take the punt on what we think, you might as well put your money where your mouth is, or your money where our mouths are, and let's see if it pays off. For Wonga Dinga's always confident in himself. The first game,
just give me a piece. Just give me a piece.
He wants
just sponsor next week's show for us, then we're all good.
Yeah. So the first game we're going to be looking at is Leeds versus Arsenal. I mean, can they keep it going, Wonga Dinga? You're going to be the first one. Settle. Let's hear your thoughts after him. Let's go, Wonga. Can they keep it going away at Ellen Road?
Come on. Everyone knows we're gonna ravage this team. I say 3-0.
Being an Arsenal fan, eh?
Well, I say 3-0. Yeah. If Arteta doesn't change anything, I would start. No giving. No guy just gets opportunity just because we're winning. No, you must earn your spot. Play the same team that's been winning. 3-0.
Does that include Xhaka?
Oh, 0-3. Yeah, that includes Xhaka as well. We're doing a ball up front.
Okay. I think it's going to be a 3-1 victory to the Gunners. I agree with Pums there. 3-1 victory to the Gunners. I'll give Leeds 1 goal.
Pums, no goal. 0, guys. 0. You'll thank me later. Just say 0.
I mean, it's interesting because they haven't won a game in 5. They've lost 3, drawn 2, and they're currently sitting 14th. What is that? 3 points off relegation zone. So not a great start there for Leeds. And of course, a team that is flying at the moment, Arsenal. So you'd have to say an Arsenal, but I'm going to say a 2-0 victory there for Arsenal. The next game we're going to be covering. This is a tricky fixture. This next one we need to talk about is Man United and Newcastle, and I think it's going to be a nice test for Ten Hag at Old Trafford. And this is going to be, and why I say that is because they are playing at home. So technically speaking, they should be getting a result here. But we know what Newcastle's been doing. Wonga Denga, what do you think is going to happen?
They got a Saint Maximum is back. I think Wilson's there as well. And obviously, Trippier, all the guys, the big guys in the team are fit.
Got a BMT player.
And I think Newcastle as well. They're gonna try, definitely upset. We missed them. Let's call them. So much change it now. We in happy moods now, Pooms.
No, you got to read it out.
That's all the rants.
For the people who just listen to us, what did he say there?
He says, Wonga rants, we missed these.
We missed the Wonga rants, right? As you were, Wonga.
I think, they've got a point to view. Like you're saying now, Claudia, I don't know which way to swing. So then I would say 2-2 draw. I really don't know which way to swing. But I think Newcastle would be giving it all they might to try and win it, and not even try and draw.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 2-1 victory to Man United. I think I'll give Newcastle a goal just because they've been doing quite well this season. But I think maybe I would have slightly changed my result if we were at St James's Park. I think for this one, Man United 2-1.
Who scored the goals for you, Silo?
Man, Rashford's going to score one of the
Ronaldo.
goals. And CR7 will score the other goal.
Does Ronaldo start, or does he come off the bench?
No, he starts this game. Martial is unavailable.
Does that scare you a little bit, the fact that he might start, and then what options do you have on the bench?
No, it's okay on the bench. The bench will have Sancho on the bench. That's about it basically because
Sancho is he injured? Just not playing.
Yeah, what's happening with Sancho? What's going on there, Silo?
No, he didn't play well last week in the Europa League game. So he didn't play well last week. So him and Malacia both got dropped for Rashford and Shaw. So it was just a matter of playing guys who actually, when they came on at halftime against that Cypriot team last week, did well. So basically, Shaw and Rashford got rewarded for changing the game in Cyprus. So and Martial also got rewarded for changing the game in Cyprus. Basically, it's just that he pulled up with a bit of a niggle. So those three players did well last week, and they started on the weekend. So
Shaw did a good job against Everton.
Exactly. So he's not starting. Shaw's not starting tonight, so he'll probably start on the weekend. But Dalot has to start every game because Wan-Bissaka's got a long-term injury.
Yeah, my prediction here is I'm going to say it's a draw. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw, largely because Newcastle have already drawn 5 this season. I don't think they're not going to come out guns blazing. They're going to sit tight. They're going to make it very difficult for Man United, and they're just going to put pressure on Man United to see what they can do with their chances. And I do think they'll hit them in the counter-attack. And I think the traveling Newcastle fans will be loud, and it's going to cause some headaches. So I'm going to walk away with a draw. It's going to be Man United's first draw of the season. That's what I'm going with. Pum's saying 4-3, which is quite an exciting game. So if we're going to follow Pum's predictions, you want to tune into this game of the weekend. Now, for the one that is on paper should be a sort of done deal. Woongadinga, Liverpool versus Man City.
Uh, 5-2 to Man City.
Well, you were pensive. I was wondering where your head was going, but was it just doing a goal tally? You were trying to work out how many goals are going to be scored there.
I was trying to figure out if Liverpool actually score a goal, but you can't write them off, Liverpool. But I think at the moment, look, they need to sort out the way they're defending. And I think, actually, it might be a blessing in disguise as well because Trent is off, and I think he also needs a bit of time off. Because even on a game against Arsenal, I felt, look, the mistakes he made was, he looks like he's trying to prove a point. He's trying to do too much when there was no need to even go. Like the one way he went with when Martinelli cuts in. I mean,
irony.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, even if you're not a defender, you would know that you shouldn't have gone there. Rather let Martinelli go down wide and cross it in, rather than him cutting. But anyways, I think that's probably a blessing in disguise for them. Liverpool's got enough on the bench, I think. But yeah, Man City's going to be too much. Gee whiz. And they'll see now. Oh, what you do? You just cut out Salah, and they'll have a problem. And you also have Diaz. I think if Diaz stayed against Arsenal, you guys probably would have had a different result. But I think Diaz is injured as well now, and I think that's also going to cut out goals for you guys. He's probably the most dangerous player now after Salah got a big fat increase.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, it's tough. It's tough in the world of football. You lose 3-2, you win 7-1, you lose 5-2 apparently to Wonga this weekend. That's a roller coaster of emotions for Liverpool fans. I think it's going to be 4-1 to Man City. Is it at Anfield?
Yeah, it is.
No.
Okay,
it is.
I'll cut one goal. I think the atmosphere will cut it to make it 3-1 to City. They're not 4-1. 3-1 to City.
The problem, though, and I think Pums has come out saying 6-0. I think the problem is if it's going to get to 3 goals, Liverpool are very fragile at the moment. So if they're going to concede, when Liverpool are fragile and Haaland is rampant, so if they do concede 1 or 2, there's going to be more. It's going to be a floodgate. it's going to be open because they're just going to lose their heads, and that's the problem. But the interesting thing was the game against Rangers was almost like a pick me up. It almost felt like a preseason friendly where they needed to go there, build their confidence. Salah, scoring the quickest hat trick in the Champions League, and that's because again he's playing down the middle. You got Bobby Firmino. By the way, this is an interesting stat for you. Bobby Firmino, Wonga, you're talking about him. He's been involved in 13 goals this season, scoring 8, and the others obviously being assists. The only other player to be involved in more goals is Haaland with 23. That's the only player this season. So Bobby is definitely flying. And I think this is where we're going to have to count on the crowd really pulling up. We're going to have to count on the experience. And we're going to have to count on the fact that, if there is a side that Liverpool can draw on the confidence of upsetting is Man City, because they've done that in the past. And that it has to be one of those. They need to treat it like a cup game and hope for the best. But I do see, obviously, Man City running away with this. As long as it's not 6-0, I'll take what I must take. But if it's a 1-goal difference, I'll be happy. So I'm going to say 3-2. That's what I'm going to go for. And I do need to comment on Darwin Núñez scoring last night. I think him scoring very different again to Haaland. Him scoring looks like there's relief off his shoulders. Jota's playing all right. So let's see. It's going to come down to Klopp whether or not, whatever formation he plays. I like the fact that you touched on Trent not playing. Yes, Gomez is there, so it is going to be more defensive. The problem is Foden can run circles around most people. And Gomez is also just as fragile as Trent at the moment, even though technically he should be more defensively sound. But when he's playing, we lose something going forward. So I'm going to say 3-2. Long-winded answer.
3-2 to Man City.
Sorry, I don't add too much. Okay. Just a quick thing here. Liverpool again this season. I don't know if it's a trend, but Liverpool lost 2-1 to Man United. The next match, Bournemouth suffered 9. And then they lost against Arsenal, another top 6. They lost 3-2 against Arsenal. Then Rangers got smacked. They got the punishment from the game 4. And I think, looking at a trend, maybe they lose this one again. Whoever you're playing next is gonna lose 7. So for betting corner guys, next week
if Liverpool lose, bet on them scoring 3 goals plus in the next game.
5 plus.
I think the scary thing was about watching that Rangers game last night was, that could happen to us on the weekend where we didn't play too well in the first half, and Man City could go there, not play too well, because, the crowd does play a bit of a difference. And then all of a sudden, second half, they come out to play, and there's like a 15-minute of madness that could happen. And that's the scary part. I mean, if Haaland scored at Anfield already when he was playing for Red Bull, not even Dortmund. When he was playing for Red Bull, he scored there. So that man doesn't give 2 shits about who you are, where you are. So that's a bit scary. But right, gentlemen, it brings us to the end of the show. Our final thoughts. Woongadinga, kick us off with your final thoughts, sir. VAR, you happy with that? You happy with VAR and Michael Oliver? Eh?
No, I won't lie, I'm not happy with VAR. It's too inconsistent because it's going to happen the whole season. And then it brings rise to these conspiracies, to be honest with you. Like, what the heck? We can look at these things now and we're still making these wrong decisions. Like, no ways. But yeah, I think, like, for me, okay, look, the free kick, it's always going to be a matter. I think that one because of contact, but the handball is obvious, guys. His hand is out of his body. It's
also Wonga, they didn't even treat the VAR right because they weren't even ready for that. So yes, I personally think the Premier League they're destroying everything with regards to the VAR.
And what are the chances? That's the only time. That's the only time.
Peter Parker's grandfather. What did he say? Silo?
What did he say?
With great power comes what?
Great responsibility.
Yeah, they're messing up right now, those buggers.
I don't think they're messing up. It might be on purpose. But anyways, I was going to say my final thought, and I thought I should figure. It's funny how the chemistry between Ronaldo and Casemiro was nice to see. Like that tackle and the pass to Ronaldo, it was almost instantaneous. You could see that he knew he was going to pass as soon as he got that ball. That's what he was going to do. There wasn't even two thoughts about it. He just gave it to him, and he went and he scored. For me, I thought that was very interesting. Maybe showing McTominay and all those guys what to do once they get the ball. Just give it to that man, and he'll do the rest. But yeah, that's my final thought.
Guys, Arsenal doing well has brought out the voice of Woongadinga. He speaks the most on this show, guys. I think we're gonna have a new weekly show for him. 30 minutes so he can just talk to you guys and just be happy, because right now he's obviously the loudest in the show. But yeah, may continue. I think we obviously being bombarded with a lot of football because of the World Cup coming up. So I think the Premier League is taking shape and will continue to take shape. As I said, the top 5 sides are 5 of the top 6. So let's see how long it takes Liverpool to get into that top 6. And right now, Bournemouth is higher than Liverpool.
Yeah, and I think Pums, I think Chelsea are doing the business. We actually haven't given Chelsea any airtime, but I will say this though, Pums. What is it with managers going to Chelsea and then slowly transforming to Bond villains? They all start looking like Bond villains with their beards and their
black turtleneck there, all black turtleneck there in Milan.
What is that?
Looking like the part of the bar.
It's almost like he walked in. Remember we spoke about Frank Lampard having different Hawaiian jerseys. It's almost like he's walked in and Tuchel's left his wardrobe there and he's gone, oh, this fits perfectly. I'll just wear that and try a new look. Seems to be working.
Exactly.
Also, some English troubles there, considering the fact that James got injured there for Chelsea. Big player. He's a big player for Chelsea. Kyle Walker's now injured, and Trent's also injured. So I know they got tons and tons of right backs, and they still got Trippier, but that might be a concern there for Gareth Southgate. Which, by the way, tying into another Chelsea fact, Thomas Tuchel has openly said he would be happy taking the England job. So food for thought, David. That's pretty much my final thought.
Juventus need a manager. Juventus need a manager soon, guys.
I don't know. Did someone want to read out what Pum says there in terms of what his manager looks like?
Guys, let's end the show, please. Wow.
Right, we're not going to say what Pum said, but I mean, if you want to come onto the show and actually see what Pum has typed, you're more than welcome to in terms of what he believes his manager looks like. Right, and that pretty much concludes today's show. Gentlemen, how do you end the show? How do you do it? 3, 2, 1, let's hear it.
Top of the log.
Stop it.